I personally did two internal transfers in my time at Google. And by going through this process twice, I learned a lot about what are the best practices. So, what should you be thinking about if you're considering an internal transfer at your current company, or you just want to learn a little bit more about these items? Let's dive in. And why I love this subject is because in today's economic landscape, internal job changes can be faster, less risky, and just open up massive opportunities for growth for you. And most companies do recognize that prioritizing internal mobility makes it both easier for them and it's a cheaper option for them as well, as opposed to looking externally. So let's walk through the steps. Item one is policies and procedures, and this is hands down our most robust section. And you can use this section as a checklist if you like. So, hopefully, before we dive in, your company has well documented and accessible procedures outlined that you can reference, but that's not always the case. Let's go through all these unique areas. So, one is just eligibility requirements. Usually, two items are critical. Tenure. Are you required to be in your current role for a minimum period of time before going after internal job openings? For example, some companies require that you're in your current role for a minimum of 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, etc. The second item is performance status. Candidates often need to be in good standing with their recent performance reviews. So that could mean you're at least meeting expectations, exceeding expectations, etc., in order to be able to transfer. Two is manager notification rules. Is it your company's policy that your manager's approval is required before speaking with other managers or applying? Some companies will actually require a formal sign off, while others will allow for more informal and confidential applications. Three is the internal transfer process. So, what are the rules for engaging with other hiring managers? How are internal applications submitted? Who oversees this process? Is it led by HR, recruiting, or the hiring team? And obviously, a big one is an interview process, if applicable. Are you required to go through a formal, informal, or mix of both when going after internal roles? And how does that process differ for transfers into the same position versus a completely new type of role? Fourth is the timeline. Is there any specific standard of time when transitioning from your current role into another role? Do you need to give 1 week, 2 weeks, or more? And who decides on that transition date, your current or future manager? Five, a big one, compensation. Does your company keep your compensation the same? Do they give you a raise? Will your bonus or equity packages or anything else in the compensation space be impacted? If you move to a different role, could your compensation go down? And if it's a level up, how are they benchmarking that new compensation, especially if it's a level up and you're getting a raise? This is obviously a big and critical item for everyone. Six is internal transfers that involve some type of move. So many people work at global companies that have locations or multiple locations within that country, other countries, etc. So are there specific policies when changing offices, regions, or countries? Will your company help with visa sponsorship if you're going to another country? If you're moving offices or going to another region, will they offer relocation support? And a big one, how does that country compensate differently for like or similar roles? For example, at Google, I had the opportunity to transfer to London in a recruiter role. I found the team and received verbal approval, and I decided not to take the job when I found out my base salary would be reduced by 35%, something I probably should have figured out beforehand. Seven is any regulatory items. This could be due to legal or client obligations. This is less common, but just something to be aware of. Eight, this part's tricky. It's really the how. Can you transfer internally without a posted opening? Meaning you simply have a good relationship with the hiring manager and they want to bring you onto their team and they have the headcount to do so. Does an internal posting need to go up? And if it does go up, is it posted internally for 7 days first? This is somewhat common for large companies. Then does it get posted to the external public? Does it all happen at once? And is the number of interviews different for internal versus external candidates? Do you have to interview at all? There's lots of hows, but this is something else you're going to want to uncover. Nine is utilizing internal knowledge. Oftentimes, you'll have the most success by leaning into people you know and trust at your current organization. Speak confidentially with those who have been through the process before, if possible, and really probe to get critical insights. Most people will be more than happy to help you. And a bonus tip, this one is so critical. It's what I refer to as promotion reset, meaning if you're on the path to promotion and you're getting close, I strongly recommend not transferring before you get promoted because your current team and stakeholders know your great work. But when you move on to a new team, they won't have all this data and much of it might not be relevant or applicable anymore. So if you're moving to a new team, just set the expectation that your promotion timeline will be reset. So the best time to transfer is right after a promotion. And I personally did that in my time at Google. Right after I got that first promotion, I started looking for a new team. Item two is same or different role. I just want to briefly touch on this subject area. Oftentimes, the process will vary greatly depending on the answer to this question. Same role could be as simple as identifying a new team, having a couple of casual conversations, then getting the managers to sign off. These were both of my scenarios in my internal transfers at Google. Hiring manager was interested, my current manager signed off, then we casually decided on a transition timeline. Now, moving to another role, that could also require a full interview process and have a potential down level if the new role that you're going after you have less experience for, has more technical components, etc. So really take these items into consideration. Item three is your manager relationship. There are countless reasons why you may be looking to move on from your current position. And regardless of the scenario, you're likely going to need sign off from your current boss at some point during the process. If you have a good relationship with your manager, share your goals with them and ask for their support in the process. A true leader will support you and do whatever is in your best interest, not theirs. Now, oftentimes, a motivator for leaving a team can be a bad manager. This is actually the reason for both of my internal transfers at Google. I wanted to stay in recruiting, but get away from my manager. In these cases, you may not want to include them or notify them until you've identified a team and that team has confirmed they want to hire you. Obviously, the good manager scenario makes things pretty easy. If you have or you're in that bad slash unsupportive manager category, you may need to inform slash collaborate with HR. In addition, while speaking with other teams, keep it super positive. And if you're asked directly if your current manager is in the loop, simply say, hey, if we determine this is a match, I will 100% include them in the process. At this time, I'd like to keep these conversations confidential. And that doesn't mean that they will stay confidential. Keep this in mind. Also, be ready to answer more probing questions from prospective managers on why you're looking to leave your current team, and be ready to address why you're looking with your current manager if they find out that you are looking, which will happen sometimes. Item four, data gathering, conversations, and adding value. So, besides chatting with others about the process, start to just gather some data on other teams in regards to happiness, work life balance, that manager's leadership qualities, value of that product area, etc. I would take this step before going through the formal process or informal process. And the second item, informal is kind of my recommended path if possible. Start by socializing with those that you trust to see what are the best teams to work on, who is currently hiring or who might be hiring soon, and if they see any possibilities to have them make introductions, advocate for you, etc. Just make sure that they're also helping you stay apprised on openings that maybe aren't open now but could be coming up in the future. That would be beneficial for you as well. Now, next, for teams that you are interested in, try and schedule informal 15-minute coffee chats first. And these can be done in person or via video. Have a clear agenda where they do all the talking because you have 5 to 10 great questions prepared for them. And this could be with that direct hiring manager, that could be with the skip lead, that could be with team members, etc. And A secondary and really impactful way to open up internal transfer opportunities is adding value. So, for example, while I was at Google, I created a candidate experience training. I scheduled meetings with the recruiting leads from all the product areas. I think it was about 6 to 7 product areas to learn more about them and their team. And at the end of those meetings, I offered to train their teams on candidate experience, and they all took me up on it. So when I decided to go through the internal transfer process, I was well known, I was liked, and it gave me massive credibility. And I got a lot of interest from teams when I decided to start reaching out. Now, one other way to go about this is when you're working on cross functional projects and you find yourself liking the team, the hiring manager, the product area, you can start volunteering to help with small projects where your expertise would be valuable and needed. This will help you build relationships and create some more of that good and strong credibility and visibility. And part of this is recognizing that this process should be ongoing. You can stack things in your favor so that when you're ready for that internal transfer process to begin, you are more set up for success and very likely to set yourself apart from others. Item 5, just a few quick tactical tips. And so, your default mode going into all these conversations and everything you do should be graciousness and kindness, all these conversations. Then, having great prepared questions that focus as much on them as possible is really important. Get them talking about themselves, and leaning into that active listening mindset will also be critically critical. Next, just maintain a spreadsheet, track who you talk to, when you talk to them, notes on the pros and cons, notes on any lingering questions, and use your calendar to create a timeline to follow up. Changing roles inside your company might be a great move for you. Start understanding a little bit more about the process and policies, and then data gather, have the conversations, offer something of value. I hope you enjoyed this video. There's so much to consider when it comes to internal transfers. I'm sure I missed something or multiple things. Don't hesitate to ask questions in the comments section. And thank you, as always, for watching.